word on the street is my guest Arnav is a buff when it comes to the future and engineering in general. He's got a degree in engineering. So let's go. First question. Guess what year this happens, but you can't guess more than 2101 Jan 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
When is the first human going to be on Mars? You can say never.
Look, I attended a university lecture about 2 years ago at Curtin, and we had a representative from NASA come along, and he said, yeah, you were there too, so I think you'd recall, he said, we would put a human being on Mars in the year 2020. And where are we now? So, based on that, but also based on the optimism of that representative, I'm going to push the timeline out 10 years and say 2030.
2030 for Arnav. I think, and this is like a game show, we're competing here. I think people are always saying 10 years. It's always what they're saying. I think it's going to happen in 2080. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon at all. There's no incentive to go there. Who's going to spend that money? If it's going to be a private company like SpaceX or whoever, why would they do that? There's publicity involved, but there's still no financial gain. If it's like a Cold War, that's what would drive you to do it, because it's like national prestige. But just for a company, they run on money. So I think 2080.
But then why has already so much investment gone into it in the first place? Into getting someone to Mars? If there was no intent or financial gain originally, they wouldn't have even started on the venture.
There is, and that's an interesting venture, but I don't think you need like many billions of dollars. I think a few orders of magnitude more than they're getting now. It's not like they need 10% more. But that's just my guess. People are always saying in 10 years, in 10 years, in 10 years. I think it's going to be 7 or 5 more 10 years, 6 more 10 years. That's my guess. It's just a guessing game. We don't know. No one really knows.
Alright,
Arnav thinks 2030. Okay, number 2. When do you think malaria is going to be completely eradicated, just like smallpox? No more malaria on Earth. Because if we delete all of the malaria bacteria, then even the mosquitoes are harmless, right?
What do you mean delete the...
Eradicate
How do you delete
them?
Oh, okay. Eradicate the bacteria.
Yeah. No, you don't have to eradicate...
It just looks like a button where you just press delete and that just...
Yeah, well that's what we need to do. There's interesting ways that you can do that. But you don't need to kill mosquitoes, just the bacteria is fine.
Well, knowing a whole lot of jack shit about that topic, I'm gonna guess...
A whole lot?
I'm gonna guess 2050.
Oh really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I know so much about this topic because I watched like 2 YouTube videos on it. And I come from Africa. I think it's going to be eradicated by 2030.
Okay.
I do. Because there's interesting ways to do it. One of which is you genetically breed a mosquito. You give it a certain, what's it called? Like DNA strand.
A genome.
Genome. So that it can no longer transmit the malaria bacteria. And that genome is really strong. So when they reproduce, that will stay in all of the mosquitoes. So technically, if you just give it to a few and introduce them all over the continent, that DNA will spread eventually to every single mosquito. So knowing that, would you like to adjust your answer? Or?
How close are we to?
You're 2050, I'm 2030.
2050 and 30. 10 years. 2040.
2040, okay. It seems pretty doable to me.
Yeah.
Okay, question 3, we keep going. Cryogenic sleep. So when can you get in a container and just wait out time as long as you want?
Ooh. Look, I know it's been done with animals, and it's been done for like through hundreds of years already.
And of course you can go and freeze yourself. People do that already. It's just will you be reanimatable? So I guess let's clarify. The first cryogenic sleep is someone who's been asleep for like more than a year, frozen, and then they awake. The awakening part.
I reckon at least 50 years. So 2070.
You reckon 2070?
Yeah.
Okay, I think I think it's never going to happen. I don't think it's physically possible because the act of freezing is water expands obviously, and the human body isn't evolved to do that. It just breaks too many tissues and the neurons in your brain especially, and that just destroys who you are. If the cells in your brain start rupturing, I don't think that's curable. So I'm gonna say basically post 2101.
Yeah. Okay.
Or never.
Okay.
Okay, number 4, curing aging. Are you happy going first all the time? Because you're fine. Okay, curing aging.
So
this ties in with cryogenic sleep, because if you can sleep until they cure aging, you'll be immortal. But
that's right.
Just curing aging, period.
So I'm assuming curing aging equals to immortality. Because if you've cured aging, in theory, that's just equivalent to living forever.
Unless you get hit by a nuclear bomb or something.
But that's the same with Yeah. But basically, okay, let's go with that.
Mm-hmm.
I reckon never.
Never?
So post
2100.
I
think it's very likely. So let's put you down. Never. I think... Do you have any reason why you think never?
Yeah, it's just every living thing that's ever existed on this planet has died.
Okay.
Well, yeah, has died, or will die.
Yeah, well.
So,
okay.
Just based on that.
Yeah, no, that's a good answer. I think there's a bit of study going into what causes aging, though, and they seem to have like the science kind of understood. It's not like a mystery why we age. So they know the processes and reactions involved that cause aging. So they know where to start at least. And maybe this is another question we could ask. Maybe we'll just interject it here.
Okay.
Oh, it's kind of the same thing, but nanobots. If they can get nanobots figured out, they can go in your body and fix in this case, the telomeres and your DNA structure.
Yeah.
They can actually fix that, and that'll cure cancer and everything as well.
Yeah, I've heard bits and pieces about that.
Yeah, but I think that is going to be a long time. I think 2080, I'm going to guess.
2080?
Yeah. I think if we live a healthy lifestyle, we could just hang on until they cure that. So we just need that or cryogenic sleep. You guess 2070 for cryogenic sleep.
Yes.
Okay, we can do that, 2070. It'll be 84 or whatever, 86.
Yeah, our lifetime, I'd like to think.
Okay, sorry. Not World War III. Fusion reactors. Commercially available, or commercially viable fusion reactors.
Look.
Which is kind of like saying free energy.
Yeah. Look, fusion is one of those things that's, it's just extremely energy intensive, extremely difficult to control. I just don't see us being able to sustainably, for even governments to authorize like this, it'll be like pretty much a ticking time bomb if we do happen to master it at all anyways, I feel. Because it's a chain reaction. So, in my view, fusion is just one of those things that's... No. I don't see it. I don't see it happening, also because there's probably not a lot of incentive for it to happen. Like, we've got nuclear energy, which is also very viable now. I reckon the time, energy, and cost-intensive processes involved in making fusion happening, I don't see it becoming commercially viable.
Okay, before 2101 Jan 2nd. Yeah. Okay. I think it's going to happen pretty soon because a lot of people are interested. Billions of dollars are going into this. And I think the people who crack it are going to be like the world's richest people or the most powerful government in the world, whoever has this technology.
Yeah.
Because then you can do crazy stuff, whatever you want.
Yeah, true.
And also what I like about this is, like, it sounds so sci-fi and too good to be true, but we know it's possible because the sun is doing it.
Yeah, well, all the stars and the...
Yeah, we don't know if it's possible to do it on Earth because the technology is so fancy and futuristic and all this, high pressures, high temperatures. you can't touch anything. It has to just be floating in space. And really futuristic, but I think it's either going to be never, or if it is possible, it's going to happen before 2060. They're always like it's 30 years away. I'm going to guess, I'll go 2065. I'm optimistic though.
Wow.
This is like my passion. If I could work on anything in the world, as an engineer, I would work on fusion energy.
Fusion energy specifically.
Yeah, because if they crack that, the world will be different forever.
But the world will be different even from, harnessing. If you perfect solar energy, if you make solar energy 90% efficient, you've suddenly got free energy as well. That's true. Not necessarily solar, any renewable source, like harnessing the power of oceans, waves of the ocean and stuff like that. So,
but moving on, we've got a lot of questions. I've got a lot of questions. Patrick's coming soon. He said he might be early. Okay, you can start by explaining again what this is. Fast radio burst source. When are we going to discover the source of FBRs?
The source of FBRs. FRBs.
So what is an FRB?
So from what I understand, the fast radio bursts, with radio obviously just meaning in the radio frequency of the electromagnetic spectrum, and you point your telescope at certain parts of the sky and you've suddenly got these fast radio bursts, which no one seems to know, not that I know of.
And this is like a regular-ish occurrence.
Yeah.
It's not a once-off like the WOW signal or something.
Yeah, I think it's just a regular occurrence from like a certain part of the sky.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you obviously know a lot more about this than me. When do you think they're going to discover what's causing this? Aliens, it could be, of course, but who knows?
Yeah, I think there's already a couple of theories out there. When we're going to confirm the theory, I don't see it as a massive time block. I'd say 10 years. So
10 years.
2030.
Okay.
Yeah.
Me knowing nothing about this topic, I'm going to guess 2030. I hope you don't mind.
Well, you should. I'd think you should go at least a year over or under.
Oh yeah, true. Because 2030. I'm going to be optimistic. 2029.
Nice.
I think astronomy is making a lot of big leaps lately. With all this new. I don't know what is it. I guess just
data
new types of like mass processing of mass data and different types of telescopes looking at different frequencies.
Yeah, and once they commission,
and it's so interesting how they can I guess the telescopes sometimes, maybe this is more for like gravitational waves and stuff. It doesn't point anywhere. They can't tell exactly where it comes from, but how they like triangulate things.
Yeah.
And then you put all of this data together, and then. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, have you heard about this square kilometre array?
Yeah.
It's like a...
My country, right? It's in South Africa.
Yeah, there's parts of it in South Africa and parts here as well. Yeah, so that's going to be massive. Like, I'm not sure where that project's up to, but
what time is it?
Generates like 12:21.
We've got some time.
It generates like, I think it's like a terabyte of data a second or something stupidly ridiculous.
I think it's more data than is on the internet. I had something like that.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, in like the span of a second.
Yeah.
So the findings from that telescope are going to be massive, I think. Groundbreaking.
Okay. Moving on again. This is one I found really fascinating. Superconductors at room temperature. This would change the world entirely.
Absolutely.
You cannot even imagine what this would do.
Ooh.
I'll start. I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's physically impossible within the laws of physics.
Okay.
I don't think there's... it's not a metal... You're a metallurgist. A metallurgical
it's
engineer.
Basically just
I don't think it's a metallurgical issue.
No, it's not. Yeah, but yeah. It's basically like a frictionless... I guess we won't achieve superconductivity in the purest sense, but we may get close to it. Which may be good enough, like for a train or something.
But the question here is true
superconductivity. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
Never.
No.
What if we reduce room temperature to like 2 degrees Celsius? That's pretty cold. Just like a cool 20 Kelvin off 25K.
Yeah, just casually
You
chop
still
it
think
off.
never?
Yeah.
There's interesting theories that Moses knew about. superconductors.
What?
But I think that's bullshit. It's just conspiracy theories.
Can you elaborate? I'm genuinely curious now.
They just think like the Ark of the Covenant was... There's no basis behind this at all. It's crazy people thinking crazy things. Oh, get a lot of hate for that comment.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, stranger things have happened.
We can revisit
Anyways.
these topics in future episodes, but to keep today fast, short, and sweet, like the Turkish delight, you're welcome to have some. I'll have some in a second.
It looks like it's such a nice geometric pattern that I don't want to like
kill it.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, fair enough. Useful mainstream quantum computing. Because right now, of course, quantum computers do exist, but as far as I'm aware, we don't really have an application for them.
Not a mainstream application.
Not even, from what I understand, we haven't had any breakthroughs or mathematical discoveries or anything thanks to quantum computing.
Yeah.
As far as I know.
I reckon it's the amount of research that's going into it. I'm going to guess literally 15 years. So 2035, we'll have something concrete.
Can you talk some more? I'm still chewing.
Yeah, so I know IBM's got a massive thing going on in the US. That's going to play a massive role. China's probably doing all sorts of things around that space. So, I mean, it's basically so scientifically mainstream, that entire field, that there's that much focus on it at the moment globally that...
I agree with you entirely.
Yeah.
And I think China especially, like, I don't fully understand the applications of quantum computing, but I'm sure that's something we still need to investigate. But I can see applications being in like big data and maybe like facial recognition and stuff, because that is really, it's kind of like abstract, and maybe for neural networks it will be useful.
Yeah.
Because you maybe don't need such strict mathematical formulas.
Yeah.
But I don't really know how quantum computing works, but I can see that China, who's just collecting so much data about everything, they would really want and desire and pump brains and
resources,
time and money into it.
Well,
so I'm going to be even more optimistic than you and say 2030.
Yeah, nice.
Because that's a long time, 10 years.
That's true. That's true.
Okay.
And
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, go on.
Okay, number 9. Widely accepted nuclear energy. So this is fission. This is more of a societal question. When is the public finally going to realize that modern nuclear reactors are perfectly safe, and there's basically... can you remember the stats? I think all engineers did this in uni. Like, the fatalities per kilowatt hour produced of nuclear energy is like less than 1,000th of a coal power plant, because coal power plants are pretty dangerous for people who work there. Not to mention all the people it kills through like toxicity in the air. Nuclear energy kills basically no one, and modern nuclear reactors are even way more safe than anything like Chernobyl or the one in Japan, Fukushima, because if they fail, they don't overheat, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you think all of society is just going to accept this, and then we'll reduce pollution a lot.
Well, having said that, I think there are a few limitations, like the waste aspect of the whole fission process and the waste storage. I think that's the main kind of...
What I find interesting with that topic is, don't we get nuclear materials from the ground and then put them in a reactor? Why is it so hard to put those nuclear materials back in the ground? It's not like we created more nuclear waste. It was already in the ground.
Yeah.
It's more concentrated.
But you can't do that, A, until the end of the mine life, and B, I'm not sure if there's other byproducts in there that are...
What, worse than the original?
Yeah.
Possible. Okay. I'm convinced.
Yeah.
So the question, I guess, when is society at large gonna accept this as a safe alternative?
Yeah. Number of variables there, I think, like how much effort goes into it, how much awareness is being raised,
This is a very practical question, because it could be tomorrow, but actually.
Yeah. I'm going to go 5 years.
Really? Wow.
Yep.
That's crazy optimistic.
I think if governments push hard enough, and if governments realize it, and if people in power realize it, it's a really easy marketing spiel.
I'm going to go the exact opposite, never. I just think people are always going to be more excited about other opportunities. It's like solar, wind, fusion, whatever. They're never going to focus on in making fission, like radioactive waste. It's too dangerous to touch. It's like, I think politicians don't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole. They just don't care about it. It's like a bit scary. You don't want to attach your name to nuclear energy. Unless it's like France. Okay. France that's just widely accepted. But I don't think globally, or like in America or here, that's going to happen. I think we're going to discover other sources of renewable energy before that happens.
Sure.
So that's the most deviance we've had so far. Okay, number 10, double digits. So as you so poetically put it, when do you think the marriage of general relativity and quantum field theory will happen? Theory of quantum gravity, as they say.
Obviously, first of all, I don't see myself as qualified to know all the background behind, all the...
You told me you watched all the videos of PBS space-time.
Yeah, but I don't think that still gives you enough background on where the current research is up to. But based on my limited knowledge in that field, I would say it's ages away.
Ooh.
And at least 50 years, so call it 2070.
Okay.
Yes, I'm going to go 2070 because it's massive.
Yeah. I don't think it's a hard one to say. I think there's going to be an unexpected twist, and they're never going to fully marry it. I think it's going to be
something completely separate.
Some complete separate breakthrough that looks at the world in a brand new way that doesn't fit. Like the mathematics involved in either aren't going to be joined.
Okay.
It's just, well, they're not going to find gravity and quantum field theory. It's going to be something completely different. I think that's implied, not implied, but should be implied in the question. I think the question more should have been a resolution between the two. A resolution.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, that's what my question was.
Okay.
Like, you're never gonna. Well, I don't think the maths of general relativity is necessarily ever gonna work with. Okay. You know what I mean? So we'll end up being a child or a subset of some sort.
A theory that explains quantum effects and.
General relativity.
Gravitational lensing, space-time effects.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So with that in mind, I think that's going to I think it's a complete roll of the dice. We need a genius to come along. Some Einstein-type figure. So I'm just going to guess 2050. I think it's like a roll of the dice. There's nothing limiting us from realizing that. It's just we need the right person.
True.
And I don't know who's floating around, so...
True. Maybe it's you.
Okay, when do you think string theory will be either proved or disproved?
That's another huge one. So I think the maths of, if I'm not mistaken, from layman's perspective, the maths of string theory adds up and it makes sense. But practically, I think, what was it? It involves a string vibrating in 12 dimensions, a 2-dimensional string vibrating in...
M theory is 11 dimensions.
11, there you go. So in multiple dimensions, just the fundamental of it, doesn't quite make sense, but apparently the math does. So, I mean, and I'm not even sure how it could be practically demonstrated.
And 8 of the dimensions are like tiny, coiled up within themselves. Not like complicated, weird geometric shapes, and it could be like an infinite type of these intricate geometric shapes, and we have no way of knowing which one.
Yeah, exactly. How would we practically demonstrate or do any kind of experiment in the real world?
Well, as is customary, I'll let you go first. What year or never?
Never.
I think never. My personal opinion is I don't think string theory is right. I think it's incorrect.
What aspect of it is incorrect? Like, you can't say the math is incorrect. Math, then why does, then you have to explain why does the math make sense?
I think because, as I understand it, string theory isn't actually, it is mathematical, but at the end of the day, it is saying there are tiny strings that is the substrate of reality. Like, everything is made up of strings. I don't think that's true.
Okay.
I find it much more believable and poetic and beautiful that it's fields, not strings as such.
But what are the fields comprised of?
It's a pure field. That's the basis. That's the substance. A pure.
So when you think about subatomic particles,
not a
right?
quantum. I'm
All particles
rejecting
exist in their respective fields, right? So electrons exist in the electron field. Mesons exist in the meson field, and so on and so forth. And that's just widely accepted now. But what are you saying string or, well, other fields would comprise of? You're saying everything is just fields.
Everything is a vibration in a field. I don't think the fields are made up of strings.
Okay.
But maybe that's me misunderstanding string theory. It's quite possible. What was your understanding of string theory? You think fields are more substantial than the strings? My understanding was that it's saying strings are they're things inside space.
Yeah, which vibrate and create those.
Whereas my understanding more of quantum field theory is that there's fields that have vibrations in them. And that is the reality. There's no space. So the fields are the space.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas string theory is saying there's strings inside of space.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how those two marry up, but...
I think it's not true, and hence it's never going to happen.
Yeah, true. It's never going to happen.
So we both come to the same answer, but for slightly different reasons. Never, never. Okay, this is an interesting one. Different topics, societal again. So right now, obviously, we're producing a lot of CO2, but eventually at some point, whether it's a utopian or dystopian future, the CO2 levels are going to permanently level off. They're no longer increasing. They're actually going to start decreasing. When do you think it's first going to be stable for like a whole year? It's not increasing anymore.
Why would it stop increasing?
Either because we've cracked fusion or some renewable energies, or we've stopped using so much power, or maybe World War III happened and civilization is dead. Or maybe we just run out of oil and coal. But at some point we can't keep burning. We're producing CO2. At some point, for whatever reason, it's going to stop.
Okay, so
whatever you think, that's up to you, what the cause is going to be, but what year do you think that's going to happen?
So either due to a societal shift or a, scientific or environmental or engineering shift. Obviously that covers a huge amount of possibilities. CO2 reverse. I'm going to say 90 years.
Well, 90 years, so...
90 years,
that goes
for
over
sure.
our time limit.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, so
oh, true. Well, just under that time limit.
About 2101 Jan 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
2101 Jan 1. Because it will happen, but yeah, I don't see it happening soon at all.
I think it's going to happen by 2060.
Okay.
I'm just optimistic.
But what's your most likely cause of that?
I think it's going to be a gradual process of more sustainable sources. Coal or carbon-based fuels are going to get more and more expensive, and governments are going to realize more and more that we need alternate options because we're running out. And you don't want to be the last person to be using coal, because then your economy is going to be down the drain.
True.
So the major players are going to start finding other solutions, and also fusion is a possibility. What do I guess for fusion? I guess 2065 for fusion. So if that happens, let me guess 2065.
65 would make sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me guess 2070. If they crack fusion, I think within 10 years the whole world's going to be switched onto it.
True.
So I guess 2070. Or, we'll get to this question later, something disastrous could go wrong and human civilization could collapse. Okay, number 13 is, okay, so a wormhole in a lab. When do you think that's going to happen? So just to clarify, it doesn't need to be like a human going through it. This can be like anything through a wormhole. It needs to be a true wormhole, not sending information somewhere through entanglement. Like you need to send the actual particle somewhere else.
Yeah, yeah.
And it should be, let's just say, over 1 kilometer. Not like, what's that word? I couldn't think of it earlier. An atom or electron can jump instantly across a barrier due to the...
yeah, of course.
Not talking about that.
Yeah,
like a kilometer, let's say.
Yeah, and the same particle instantaneously traversing that space.
Oh, faster than light, at least.
Yeah. Look, again, I'm not aware of where that research or how much research is focused in that area. So as a layman, and seeing as it's that massive a deal, I'm going to go at least 70 years, so 2090.
That's your guess?
For sure, yeah. For sure, that's my guess, not for sure that's going to happen then.
Pretty you'll stake,
yeah, that's it.
You'll stake your reputation on it.
That's it.
Okay, I'm going to say never, because I think it breaks the laws of causality. As soon as you can travel faster than light with a particle, then you can start breaking causality. You can start going back in time, and you can arrive somewhere before you left, and I don't think
reaches causality. True.
Yeah, I don't think if you breach causality,
So even for a particle to do that, though, for a massless particle to do that, would that still breach causality?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's my understanding. So even if I don't understand the maths, I think physics, you can make really good educated guesses on principles. One of the principles was if you break causality, it's probably not true. That's my belief. Did I convince you, or are you going to keep going with 2090?
Solid argument.
I think that's a pretty good argument. You can't break causality.
Solid.
Although I couldn't explain to you right now why it breaks causality. It's a particle. But because it breaks faster than light speed travel. But I can't right now tell you why that would. I could be wrong.
Yeah, because in theory, it's just going like, in the here and now, it's going,
from here
it's
to
here,
there.
yeah, so it's not technically
Maybe
going
if you thought about
back.
this.
It's not, yeah, having to go back at all. It's just, I'm here now, and now I'm somewhere else.
I'm sure though it does break causality. I've thought about this a lot. At some point it made perfect sense to me, but now it's gone. Now I can't.
Do you want to change your answer?
No, I don't. I'm sure it breaks causality. Comment below why it does, because I'm sure I'm right. I don't know why, but the honest answer is I'm sure PBS Spacetime said it.
Yeah.
That's the honest answer. Okay, let's move on. I didn't convince you. We're nearing the end. This is your favorite question. So maybe you should describe it. It's the house one, the construction time.
Oh.
Carbon construction time.
I wouldn't, I can't think of what I said or did to give you the impression that that was my favorite question, but I am passionate about it though, because there's a number of companies, Australian and worldwide, in that space, and I was thinking of, buying shares in those companies and things like that at some stage, which I'm glad I didn't, because this was about 2 years ago, and I thought it's going to happen like, whoa, this is big, this company's made a breakthrough, and, this is where the world's going to head, but, we're still taking 6 months odd to build houses, so,
sorry, can I interject here? I don't think you guys actually asked the question.
No, he's explaining the question.
Oh,
no.
shit, yeah,
No,
no,
you
you're
haven't.
right.
Yeah, you haven't actually said the question. Everyone will be like, what the fuck are you on about?
Yeah.
But you just say it now because I just cut and paste. It's fine.
Okay, so the question is, when will we have the building time of a house?
Due to not conventional methods, due to like some sort of a prefab machine automated process, right?
Yeah, whatever the process is, there's a huge international push, and it's already been done. Like, amid this whole coronavirus thing, you guys would have seen how China built an entire hospital in, like, what was it, 3 weeks? 4 weeks, and there's that whole time lapse of that happening. And if a hospital can be built in that time frame, there's no reason that technology can't go mainstream and be rolled out across the globe type thing. So in my eyes, it's going to happen real soon, in the next 10 years. So 2030, I reckon we're going to see a step change in the construction industry.
Okay. For me, the question's a bit confusing, interesting, because you can build something really quick if you pump in enough people and enough money and enough bricklayers.
Resources, yeah.
But I guess we're talking about like a systemic change, something technological breakthrough of some kind.
Technological change, yeah.
Without, yeah. Kind of maybe in my mind, I'll think like half the building time without increasing the cost by double.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's very financially desirable and feasible for us to just do it. It just needs a bit of a technological push.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go as well with 2035. Okay, this is the most doom and gloom question on the list because we wanted to stay positive. we don't go dystopian on this podcast.
Yeah.
But World War III. Give us a date. Scenario if you like, but that's up to you.
Yeah, look, it's one of those things that it just needs a trigger, right? So it just needs some president, some crazy president, which is already in place, to say something completely...
What are you
Do you disagree?
Which president?
I was thinking... Yeah, I can't think of his name right now. He's just,
What, the president of Tonga, or?
Yeah, Tonga.
Okay.
I forget his name.
Anyway.
He's always wearing like
I guess, actually, to be honest, there are quite a few competitors right now. There's one of some countries are more powerful than others, but just other countries, even nuclear powers, there are some warmongering people out there.
That's true. And it's, in my view, it's just going to take one comment or one action from one of these countries, and it's going to trigger a huge backlash and wars. Like, if you're remotely even into conspiracy theories, even this whole pandemic that we're in right now, some people are saying it's potentially a form of deliberate biological warfare. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, biological warfare to me is a lot more scary than nuclear warfare. Nuclear warfare is pretty damn scary, but biological warfare could, we don't even need to go there.
Imagine something with an R0 value. So R0 is how many people one person is likely to...
Ideas on that. Don't go doing anything naughty.
This is for educational purposes only.
Not for terrorist purposes.
And I'm sure this is not like a new idea anyways.
Yeah.
Imagine something that's more, how would you say it? Like more fatal, more lethal? Yeah, more lethal and with a hugely bigger R0 value.
Incubation period or spreading?
More, how do you say,
more
spreadable?
Spreadability.
Yeah, more spreadable.
And if the incubation time is longer.
And the incubation time's longer, then,
like something
and someone developed a vaccine for that, one government, and then just rolled it out to the world. I mean, that's insane.
That would be global takeover.
Yeah, so, it's going to take one event, one of these
so just to make it
type
interesting,
situations.
Give us a percent that you think it's going to happen, and what date.
Okay, percent is 70%.
Ooh, wow, that's crazy.
And I reckon it's going to happen in 2060.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, For me, I'm really optimistic on world wars. I don't know why. I think we've reached the end because anyone that's smart enough to be a global leader isn't completely suicidal. Even like religious fanatics, they have some sense of self-preservation, and you have to be totally batshit insane or totally evil to do anything like this. And I just have a trust that isn't going to happen. And if you want to get into like not conspiracy theories, but like meta-analysis of what's going on the Earth, like meta to geopolitics, like what are the powers that actually move things around? I think there are dark forces, but there are also really good forces. And we're not being... wars are usually started due to selfishness, not due to just wanting the whole world to end.
True.
So I'm just optimistic. I think the percentage is 25%. So very possible, definitely possible. And if it happens, I think it's going to be soon. I think it's going to be 2040.
Okay.
I think the longer we go on, the less the chance of a war. If there is a war, I think it's going to be more economical and subversive. But it's not something we would be like, World War III, millions of people are dying.
Yeah, it won't be the same as the previous wars for sure.
But
the nature of warfare has changed.
But people need to be dying, otherwise we wouldn't call it World War III.
Well,
if it's just economics.
Yeah, true. Exactly, yeah.
It needs to be like a war.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question that might be a bit dumb?
Sure.
What guarantees that World War III would have to be a nuclear war? If people aren't suicidal, they may not do that. Who says it's going to be nuclear, therefore it could happen sooner?
So our guest just asked a really good question. She asked, what makes us assume that World War III is definitely going to be a nuclear war? Do you want to start? Yeah, I've got ideas, but you can start.
Okay, you go first then.
Okay. I think it's because let's just take, for example, two superpowers basically warring it out, and they've both got allies. They might not use nukes to start. It might escalate and be kind of steady. But at the end of the day, let's think World War II. Maybe Japan wouldn't want to have used nukes. But when the Yanks are bombing your homeland, like once the enemy reaches your homeland, they're not going to hold back.
Yeah.
They would use that as okay, back off or we're nuking you, and then they would nuke.
Yeah.
You're not going to have your whole country invaded. At some point they would press the button. Might not be at the start, but at some point it would. That's what I think. But it's not 100% guaranteed. I just can't see nuclear powers going to proper war and then not using it at some point. But it's definitely possible.
I just don't understand why they would
if they're not suicidal.
Exactly.
But then why would they go to war at all? Because that would be super risky.
There's many reasons why countries would go to war, but that doesn't mean they want to kill themselves.
With a nuclear power, though. Like, there's
yeah,
no
but
way...
then why do they have that nuclear power? They have it because they want to be able to deploy it, right?
I think they have it more to know that they have it. They can, like, they're at par with whoever else has it, but I don't think anyone actually wants to use it, basically.
Yeah, no one wants to use it.
I don't think anyone, anyway.
I just
don't know. I just don't think they would.
It's a good question, but like if we put a real world situation, like let's say the US declares war on China because some reason, and the US starts landing troops in mainland China, there's no way China's just going to surrender.
Yeah, exactly.
I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, in which case it's a very, very possible, I think.
I think it's more, I would say it's, very likely, but not guaranteed. Maybe there's even better weapons at that time.
Yeah, makes sense.
Good question.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And the last question. Patrick's not even here yet. Oh, yeah, okay. You can ask your guest if you want. Maybe I'll go first, and then you can ask your guest.
I'm gonna,
So, I'll ask the audience, as it were. So, the smartphone in your head question. Basically, have some chip installed that you can just access the internet and take photos and record video and do everything a smartphone can, but it's all just built into your brain, like a cyborg. Yeah, it's interesting because smartphones in the last 20 years have really changed the way we live, and in a way it's kind of is already, we are kind of cyborgy. But implanted into your head, I don't think that is going to happen because people are rightfully terrified of that.
Yeah.
And what really is the big benefit? Like, why not just have a smartphone? I think people are comfortable with that.
Yeah, something external.
And I'm not saying not a single person will have it and not the technology won't exist.
But people will be very resistant.
I think
to
it's not going to be mainstream at all.
No.
And I even don't know if it's really possible. Like, it can be some sort of a gadget that's more built into you than a phone, maybe like a watch or something. But I think interfacing with human neurons is probably impossible. I don't think, my personal opinion, science has any idea, even close remotely, about the programming language that the brain uses. It's not like ones and zeros, and I guess they can send. They've got like fake eyes that can send information to the brain, but to the extent that you would have using a smartphone through just your brain telepathically, I think there's no understanding of how the brain works to connect and interface with that. And I don't think that's going to happen before 2101.
Well, you've seen those examples of scientists. Well, it already happens. People use their thoughts to control their fake arms, right? So clearly there is some sort of a link between mental processes and the neurons in your brain and physical functionality.
But
so
those are very simple though.
I don't see that.
They're just outputs to neurons, which I guess, yeah, you're right. You could probably think of a better way to
answer
do
call. Say I have a call coming and I say, I think answer call. How's that command answer call different to lift arm?
Yeah, that's true actually.
So,
but that's sort of like a Bluetooth headset in your head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds
but it's different. It sounds good, but it's different than like just watching a movie with your eyes closed.
Yeah, true.
But it's different than like reading an article with your eyes closed.
Yeah, so the question should basically just be, what are the odds of us having like a smartphone literally implanted in our...
That's what I'm saying. I think like interfacing with like basic commands is one thing because you can think something and then that's a specific brain pattern and then the machine listens for that specific thing. Yeah. Or you can listen to a neural output like a motor output, like a specific neuron going to your finger, let's say. And maybe that's what, when you're saying that might be a really good way to type because they can like, you can maybe imagine typing. Yeah. And then that still gets registered somehow.
I reckon it can.
But especially that's output. Receiving data, like video data, streaming.
Yeah.
Like a spy gadget, like show me the Google Earth images of how this house looks and then you just see it. That interface.
Google Glasses.
Yeah, but I'm talking about in your head.
Oh, what's the point of having it in your head?
Well, that's the question.
No.
Like wearing glasses.
I didn't see the question as that. I saw the question as just having a smartphone, but in your head, but not the visual interface. You'd never have a visual interface in your head.
Well, what did you mean then?
No, I just meant like literally having the smartphone implanted back here, possibly with passports and all kinds of personal information, which enables me to not carry any physical documentation on me ever, because my entire identity and everything to do with me is in there.
That's really easy.
And I can do data transfers. Yeah, but that's the point.
That's a societal question, not a technological question.
No, but that technology doesn't quite exist. Because you'd have to make smartphones like that small, first of all.
Yeah, that question to me is a lot less exciting because it's... Yeah, to me I was thinking like a smartphone in your head, including the display.
Okay, that is different.
If it's just like an identifier and Bluetooth headset, then that's easy.
Basically a smartphone.
That's just like having you can already have that by just having like earphones that can hear what you're saying.
Yeah,
right? Because it can talk to you, you can talk to it, and it communicates with the smartphone. So you just need to make it a chip and done.
True.
But I guess
Yeah,
that's a
true.
societal question.
Well, you can answer it however you want.
Yeah, well, take it for this question as like the full smartphone in your head, including display.
Okay. All right.
So mine is never. That's what I think. I don't think it's going to happen. I think technologically it's not even possible, and even if it was, people would be very scared of it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm going to go with never as well. It's either going to meet with too much people resistance or too much technological, like, limitations of technology resistance.
Okay. What about your guest, though?
Ah, yeah, so we will engage the audience here. What are your thoughts, Anya?
Look,
Oh.
I'll go out on a limb here. No, don't put the video on me.
No, I won't.
Okay. I'll go out on a limb here. Okay, wait. Okay, so I'll go out on a limb here and I'll say that I think the technology will be available sooner than we think, like within the next 40 to 50 years. But I don't think that people would act, like you said, it wouldn't become mainstream. And like you said, people would be too afraid of it. But I think it would definitely be something that people would definitely research and do, I think. And the technology will be available, but I'm not sure if it would ever become mainstream. So my answer for mainstream would be never, but technology-wise, 40 to 50 years. 20... What's 40 to 50 years from now? 2060? 2070, yeah.
Pick one.
Okay, 2070.
Okay.
I better not be on video for this.
You are, but I might crop it out. I'll try and convince you, but if I can't convince you, I'll crop it out. I'll just blank you. And yeah?
Just
Convince me
blur it.
how?
I'm just going to be like, come on, it'll be fun.
No, I don't mind. if
Do
I'm
it for good
actually-
luck.
Yeah, do it for good luck.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay.
but yeah, see, that was
See
easy.
what?
I mean,
That was
I don't really care. I just meant because, like I look like a dirt. Look at the way I'm sitting.
That's fine. But to keep the up pace of this video, and Patrick's nearly going to be here, just that's all our questions for today. If any of the audience members kind of liked anything that they heard, in particular, like a topic, just comment about that below, and maybe we'll do another weekend. We'll do something like this next weekend, because I kind of enjoyed it.
That was
And-
awesome.
and then we'll
I
do-
really enjoyed that too.
We'll do a bit more research maybe and delve into a particular topic, or do 20 more questions, whatever.
Hmm.
And if you like trees, check out this link. You can figure it out. If you're smart enough to have watched this video, you can figure that out. And is there anything else that you wanted to mention?
Well, if you did enjoy this video, do like, comment, and subscribe, as indicated by this beautiful pillow which Gerhard is invested in, just for your love.
Yeah, before my heart and soul. Okay, do you have anything to plug?
Plug?
Yeah,
Insta plug? No.
like a Twitter handle or...
No, I don't use Twitter or Insta, so.
Okay. Got it.
Unless you want to.
All right. Signing off till next time. Bye.
Signing off till next time.
Bye. That was like. I guess it's kind of thematic because it was like hell robotic. So I don't know next time. Goodbye.
But you haven't said bye yet.
I don't think it makes a huge difference.
I think
I did say like, comment, and
Yeah.
subscribe.
Yeah, I think you just cut off of
Yeah,
it. Like you fade out, you know? It's like and then just a bit of laughter and that's it.
Yeah, at the end you can do whatever you want. with it.
Yeah, and then you can have like the little kind of black, and then you put that up again, like that becomes the end. Like you just, I think my shopping plus all like that's it.
Yeah.
Some music, ding, ding, ding. Whatever you like.
Yeah, do you want music for this?
See, okay.
Like just very quiet, like.
That was so interesting, guys.
I enjoyed it. I like how fast this one was. Mostly when we've been doing it before, it was kind of like slow with everything. But this was like very.
How many subscribers do you have?
Only one of them is real.
I'll
You guys can subscribe.
Yeah. What's your handle?
No, that's not my YouTube name.
So what's your YouTube?
That's my name.
Where's the audio? I can't hear my audio.
Eh? Okay.
Should have done a test.
Why is this the search coming up? Aston Martin? Is that you?
Yeah, this is the most famous kind of video in the world.
Oh,
He's,
okay.
he's like the chief of sales for Aston Martin.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's the one that's putting
When I'm successful, I'll be successful when my name comes above that guy.